Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Antone, and I'm the Senior Marketing and Events Coordinator at MAR, as well as the producer of our free webinar series. Our webinar today is High Performance Homes. This webinar will cover the meaning of sustainability, as well as the requirements to maintain LEED certification at the silver, gold, and platinum levels. Energy efficient mortgages, climate change, tax credits, and solar heat will also be discussed. After our live session, the webinar will be recorded and added to our website at marealtor.com. If you have any questions throughout this session, please type them in the bottom of the chat box on your screen, and we'll hold a Q&A afterward. Our presenter today is Andy Consoli. Andy has been teaching real estate and first-time buyer classes for over 25 years. The owner of state-licensed ABC Real Estate Training, Andy is a certified real estate instructor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. He is a member of the Real Estate Educators Association and the New England Association of Radon Scientists. Andy was named 2018 Real Estate Educator of the Year for the North Shore Board of Realtors and has been recognized by the Massachusetts Board of Realtors in 2006, 7, 8, 9, and 2017. In addition to his work as an instructor, Andy is also a licensed real estate broker in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. He is a certified and fully licensed home inspector, construction supervisor, exterminator, air conditioning technician, heating technician, 203K consultant, Title V inspector, home improvement contractor, lead safe renovator, and moderate risk deleter. Now over to Andy.
Okay, you guys, thank you. So this is a 2-hour class normally. It's called High Performance Green Homes. It's a credit class for Mass and New Hampshire, but we're going to squish it up really into a 45 little minute chunk. So we're going to get the ball rolling immediately. Take a look at this picture here, and you'll see with a high performance green home, we have to have, if this was a live class, we could get a lot out of it, but I want to, let's see, we'll think about windows. You have to have really high efficient windows, high efficient doors. I'm talking about windows and doors that keep the heat in, they keep the air conditioning in, and eliminate the elements from entering. We need fresh air, of course. So we have heat recovery ventilators, and we have bathroom fans that exhaust dirty air and bring in more fresh air. And you'll see in this picture, we have different types of windows. Like I said, this is a heat recovery ventilator, and the roof here, all this yellow, that's insulation. So if the house envelope is insulated adequately, really tight, and the windows are really tight and the doors are tight, and we have sort of fresh air coming in and out, that would be a high performing home. And to minimize on the electricity costs, you might want to have a solar panel, but many homes aren't eligible for solar panel. I'll explain that to you in a very short period of time. And solar panels can cost people much more money than not having the solar panel. Let's take a look at this cool stuff here. Normally, like I said, we go over this in a long period of time. This is a trom wall. They've been around since thousands of years ago. What happens is the sun comes in through an opening. Nowadays, it comes through glass. In the old days, it just came through an opening in the wall. It comes through, and this space right here behind, this is where you live, this is in the house. In here, there would be like shells or stones, some type of a material that would absorb the heat from the sun. And that sun would absorb into the materials during the day, and it would find its way out of the materials at night. So when the room got cool, the heat always travels to cold. So at night, it would actually, this warm wall would actually heat the house up. By the morning time, the house would be cool again, and it would happen all over again, called a trom wall. And they use those today. This is solar tanks. You're going to run into these. And somehow, I found these in homes during home inspections. It's a big tank, and they're filled with water. And the sun shines through big sliding doors and heats the water. And the tanks become radiators that heat the house up. Those are pretty cool, too. Now, whenever you're buying windows, high efficient homes, they need a high efficient window. And this is the number you're looking for. It's the U factor right here, U factor. The lower the U factor, the more energy efficient that window is. We also have solar heat gain coefficient numbers on windows. It's the total percentage of solar energy at a window opening that is either absorbed and reflected into the building or directly transmitted through the window. So in like hot climates like Arizona, a low solar heat gain helps reduce energy costs, and in cold climates, a high. So it's how much heat actually, passes through the glass. And then we have this visible transmittance number that you see on windows. It's the amount of visible light that is transmitted from the outside through the inside. That has to do with the aesthetics in the home and how much light you might want to shine through. And so the most important number for you guys is a nice low. The building code today wants a 0.30, so this is even better than that. We have Energy Star. You guys, real estate agents, have to be very careful. You can't say a house is Energy Star if it really isn't Energy Star certified. Now, this particular sticker, Energy Guide, these have been around since 1979, and it doesn't mean anything. At one time in 1979, in order to sell products in the United States, you had to identify how much energy the product would be wasting, would be consuming and wasting. So those stickers, it's like at McDonald's today where you buy your hamburger and it says you're about to eat 18,000 calories. Like, I don't want to know that. I really would rather not know. I feel now I don't eat as many hamburgers. But with your Energy Guide sticker, that's what it is. It's giving you the heat loss, well, the cost of operation. So don't confuse this. This is not Energy Star. Energy Star would be this sticker, the Energy Star sticker, 1992. And then there's another sticker, United States Green Building Council, which means the property is LEED certified, or the kitchen cabinets are LEED certified, or something in the home. Maybe the doors are LEED certified. Different animals. I have a class that covers just these 3 topics for hours. This is a class for my contractor people. So here's a point. Energy Star has been around since 1992, in the 1990s. And Energy Star, they have appliances, refrigerators, ovens, stoves, air conditioners. Those are Energy Star, but not all of them. You got to be careful. If you walk around Home Depot, you'll see that many things are not Energy Star. And so many agents will tell the buyer that this house is Energy Star. Well, if the refrigerator is Energy Star, that does not mean the house is Energy Star. So be really careful. If it truly is an Energy Star house, which is doable, you could Energy Star a whole home. I wish I had time to explain it in detail to you, but when you come to my full class, we'll get into it heavy duty. But an Energy Star home is problematic for you guys because if you exaggerate and say the house is Energy Star when it truly isn't, there's a lawsuit called greenwashing lawsuit. It's a consumer protection lawsuit that can take you down. You never want to get a letter in the mail that you've been accused of greenwashing. That's bad. That means you're exaggerating energy efficiency, and that's unfair and deceptive, which takes you down the 93A road. Let's take a look here. Let's see, that would be the Energy Star. Keep an eye on that label. That's the blue one. Then there's something called LEED properties. You might have sold some LEED neighborhoods and LEED houses, leadership in energy and environmental design. It really doesn't focus on energy efficiency. It focuses on where the products come from. If the wood being used to build a house is coming from a forest somewhere, and that forest is being abused, and the people who are timbering are being abused and not being treated fairly, well, that material from that particular forest would not be LEED certified. LEED certified property has to be built with products that are from forests and from parts of the world that are sustainable, that can rebuild itself, that won't be depleted. And also, the route of the product from the forest all the way to your front door has to be kind. It has to be fair to the people. So the LEED product has everything to do with where it's coming from. Is it abusing the environment? Is it creating a problem in the ecosystem? And also, how are the people being treated who are managing and handling the product? If everybody's happy and everything's good and everybody's doing well, then it could be LEED certified. Let's go into LEED certified properties. They really worry about the site, the location. You don't abuse the land. Water efficiency has to be reasonable. Don't waste water. So you want to have faucets that have fixtures that minimize the waste of water. Energy and atmosphere. You want to make sure that maybe you have some big windows and solar panels, and you have air fresheners and air equipment in the home to keep the property free from carbon monoxide and other combustible gases. Materials come from a great place on the earth where people are treated nicely. The lighting and the air quality and the humidity control has been covered in the design of the building. Like you want to face the property in the right direction so you get optimum environmental benefit with the sun and with the wind and the shade. Any building can be LEED certified, you guys. New construction, renovations, commercial, industrial, schools, anything. Skyscrapers can be LEED. Now, with LEED, if you are LEED certified, you're either a simple certification called a LEED certification. And to get LEED certification, you have to have an energy analyzer, someone who comes to the property. They're called HERS inspectors, home energy rating system inspectors. These inspectors, they're special inspectors. They come out to the house and they look at everything you've done, and they give each thing you've done points. And as the points pile up, you eventually can get to, I hope, 40 to 49. And if you've been good and do the right thing, you might get 40 to 49, which gives you a certificate. If you want to kick it up and do even better, you get a silver certificate or a gold or a platinum. Now, platinum is really hard to get. You need a lot of points. Let me show you how they get some of these points. When the inspector comes out, they look for water efficiency credits. And if you've done something to reduce the waste of water from the home, you have low flow toilets and low flow kitchen faucets and bathroom faucets and outside faucets and sprinkler heads that are low flow, you get some points. Look at how you only get 1 point for a 20% reduction. You get another 1.1 point for landscaping that doesn't need too much water. There are grasses and shrubs that don't need too much water. So, it takes a while to get up to those 50, 60, 70, 80 points. Building materials, is it certified wood? That's wood from the perfect location on the earth. Is it, what are you doing with the construction waste? Are you recycling? All that adds up. All right. Bottom line is, if a builder says, I want you to sell my neighborhood and they're LEED properties, that's something you should know a little bit about so you can advertise properly. But be really careful, because once properties become LEED certified, that certificate is only good for 5 years. So this is where liability is. So you told me, the buyer, that this is LEED certified, when it might have been 6 years ago, but it isn't anymore. So it doesn't last beyond 5 years. It has to be renewed, and many people can't afford to renew it. It's very expensive to get LEED certified in the first place, but to renew it, it costs even more money. So be careful when you're speaking. You can say, I have a certificate that shows this was LEED certified, but I can't guarantee it is today. We have Energy Star and LEED as well. They're voluntary programs, but Energy Star is voluntary. If you want to build a house to meet the Energy Star requirements, then do it, but nobody is forcing you to. Energy Star is recognized all over the world, and people can get the whole house certified with Energy Star. And more than 1 million homes have been built around the country since 1995, so they're really not that many. But if you see a LEED Energy Star home, here's another problem. I'll tell you about that in a second. Take a look at this certificate. If your homeowner lists a home with you and they go, hey, here's a copy of my certificate. Well, this is an Energy Star certificate. It'll have some general information on it as to what the installation is and what type of lighting was used and what type of water management and the heating system, what style they chose, what makes this energy efficient. It'll be listed on the certificate. And then it'll have a HERS index rating right here. And the HERS index rating The higher the number, if you get like 100, that's sort of not too bad, but the lower the number, the better. If you have a number of 50, that means this house is 50% more energy efficient than your basic house. 100 is like your basic house. To get a reading of less than that means you're more energy efficient. If you guys own an old home right now, an old house with old windows and doors, you're not at 100 either. You're at like 130, 150, 180. You're on the other side of the scale. So when you see these stickers, you might want to look at where the rating has been designated. And that's something you could advertise that, hey, this house had a HERS index sticker back in 19 whenever, and this is what it was back then. You can also get the name of the organization that issued the certificate and tell the buyer to give them a call, see if they might want to come out and do a refresher. And I'll tell you why, because these Energy Star certificates are only good for a year. Like the LEED cert is good for 5. So you know why I'm mad at you? Because you said, Andy, the house you're buying is Energy Star. Well, no, it used to be, but it isn't anymore. So they do expire, and be really aware of that. An a high efficient home is going to have, well, heat pumps. This is a heat pump, and a heat pump is more energy efficient than just your everyday type of heating system. And on a heat pump, though, when it gets below 30 degrees out, they really struggle. So the heat pump has to go into electric heat mode, and it literally becomes an electric heater at that point in time. So below 0, it's costing you a little more money to operate it. But when you're below 30 and below 30, but when you're 30 or above, it's a much more energy efficient type of heat called a heat pump. I'm not in love with them because we're in New England and we do get pretty cold. Controversies. The EPA Office of the Inspector General, they released a report on Energy Star program. In the Inspector General, the audit found that the program's claims regarding greenhouse gas reductions were inaccurate and based on faulty data. So additionally, the Inspector General found that Energy Star programs reported energy savings were unreliable and that many of the touted benefits could not be verified. So this is why you have some people who don't believe in this stuff and other people who do. What I believe in is my electric bill. I believe in how much fuel I'm using in my home. So when I built my house, I wanted to make sure that it was tight as a drum because I don't want to waste money. I'm sort of cheap. So I want pretty good windows with a really low number, a low U factor, and I want my walls to be packed with insulation with a really high R factor. So when you buy insulation, you buy R30, R40, R49, R18, whatever. The R means resistance, which means it means the higher the R factor, the more resistant heat can pass through it. That's why you want a high R factor. It's more resistant to heat passing through it. U factor in a window, what that means is how much heat actually passes through it. So the lower the U factor, the better. I don't want a lot of heat actually going through the window and really making it to the other side. So a window with a 26 is much better than a window with a 36 because less heat is making it to the other side. Tax credits, like for your solar panels, solar energy systems tax credits, they're available until 2021, but they've been decreasing. See, in 2015, the end of that year, they had disappeared, and the Trump administration, they reactivated the tax credits. So we didn't really have any downtime. They immediately put them back on the table again. So now they're going to expire in 2021, and there's talk again, of course, of putting those back on the table, depending on who wins and who doesn't win. So I would say no matter who wins an election or who's in power at the time, solar energy tax credits will probably still be available. Existing homes and new construction qualify for tax credits. We have the Energy Star label for you guys, for real estate agents. If it's labeled Energy Star, the whole home, not just the refrigerator. If the whole home is Energy Star and you have a certificate, that's something you should brag about. But be careful. Remember that the cert is only good for 1 year. So is it updated? I don't know. You'd have to get some documentation to show that. Energy Star homes are quieter. Well, yeah, because the windows are awesome and the insulation is thicker and the walls are tighter. So it's going to be more quiet. Less expensive, sure, because it's tighter home. But, well, when the house is so tight, you're going to choke to death. So you need some outside makeup air. You need to ventilate a little bit, or you're going to fill the house with radon like crazy and mold can grow. As a home inspector, I see that, see where in this slide it says, according to the United States Green Building Council, generally, green homes are, I love the word generally, green homes are healthier. Ever since this whole energy efficient home thing became the big deal, as a home inspector, I've been inspecting houses for 37 years, and I don't find them healthier. I find some of them pretty moldy and nasty. It depends on the home, but the more tight, the more problematic, and the more you would need to keep a close eye on things. More comfortable, maybe. Yeah, more durable. Yeah. So, what's more durable? The building code requires that all houses be durable and strong. So more energy efficient, definitely. You're not wasting heat out the windows and out the doors. Let's take a look here. Sustainable properties are the future of the real estate business. They really are. Consumers want them. I don't blame. I'd rather buy a house with a HERS rating of 50 than one with a HERS rating of 100. The higher the rating, the less energy efficient my house is. Residential builders seem to go with it. It makes the house more attractive in the marketplace. Federal government incentives, they're still there. Local government policy and incentives, and many customers, real estate professionals, and property owners, you're all taking steps to greening property. Now, some people green property because they're thinking environmental, the planet. Other people are thinking, I want to save money. I don't want to wait. I don't want a fuel bill that goes through the roof. So for all those reasons, people are doing it. Why not? This is the type of construction. Look at the walls. This wall is the 16 inches on center, and the newer homes, the high efficiency green homes, they're 24 on center. And by having 24 on center, I have less wood. Now, the wood only carries about an R1, R2 at the most of resistance factor, when the insulation between the wall can carry an R19. So if I can get rid of some of those R2s and add more R19, then I'm more energy efficient. So they are designing homes with wider spans. And as long as the house doesn't collapse, then it probably makes more sense to do that. This is a double wall. You're going to be selling houses and the builder will say, we got a double wall on this house. You go, what the heck's that supposed to mean? Well, there's a wall and then there's a double wall, a second wall. Look at it, one wall and two walls. By having a double wall, we have double amounts of insulation, and this house is going to be as tight as a Tupperware container. And that's part of your high performance green homes. It's going to perform pretty darn good when it comes to heat loss. That's a double wall home. And you can tell as a real estate agent by looking at, like, if every window seems to have a window seat, that's weird. What do we got? A giant, this is a pretty big windowsill. That's weird. If you have these big windowsills, then all over the house, then it's going to be a double wide wall home. All right, let's fix that for a second. Okay, so let's take a look. And then the high performance homes are going to have the blown in styrofoam, which it's just getting more popular. It's very expensive. And they do sell it to homeowners. You can do it yourself, but I wouldn't. If you go online and buy the kit to do this yourself and you do it wrong, you're going to burn the house down. You're going to kill people. If you don't apply this absolutely to perfection, you can cause spontaneous combustion and burn the entire property down. So it's nothing to play games with. And the installer better be experienced. You're going to kill people. So this is some of the pictures of these guys putting in the foam. When you have styrofoam up in the rafters, the rooftop, then you don't need to ventilate the roof. There's no ventilation in the roof. And this roof is called a hut roof. It's a roof that doesn't have to be cooled down. And the only problem with a hut roof is the roof shingles come with a warranty, and the warranty is void if you have a hut roof. So that's a shingle problem, unless you buy the shingle that is okay with hut roofs. There are some shingles that still continue warrantying the material with a hut roof. So your builder better know what type of shingle to buy if you're going to be doing this. And this is good. It's tight as a drum, and as long as it's installed correctly, you're not gonna have a problem. It's expensive though. It's much more expensive than fiberglass. This is blown in cellulose. They wet it and they blow it in, and it sticks to the wall. That's part of a high efficiency insulating practice. I'm not a fan. It's sort of silly. It's chopped newspaper, but it's cheaper than the other stuff, cheaper than the white stuff. And then this is dense pack cellulose. Not a fan of that either. He's rolling it in so that they can put the sheetrock on the wall without having bumps in the sheetrock. So that stuff, I just wanted you to see dense pack. If people go, the builders say, I use dense pack insulation. I don't want to bash the dense pack industry. It's fine if it's done well, and sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. It's just an application that as a home inspector, I don't have good experience with. I see that behind the insulation, it's sort of wet sometimes. Weird. And some people are afraid of the cellulose because it is nothing but chopped newspaper. But don't worry, they add chemicals to the newspaper so it doesn't burn, and it keeps rodents from getting into the walls and so forth. So the problem with this is some people really don't like chemicals all over their house, surrounding them, enveloped in chemical. So if you're allergic to chemicals, you may not think it's a great idea, but the industry, they're not going to give you a poison home. The chemistry is applied adequately, so it doesn't really create a problem. But some people are allergic to a piece of copy paper. So if you have allergies and sensitivity to chemicals, then you got to think of that too. Okay, so there's some more of that. Let's get into this. High efficiency homes require these very high efficient windows. So when you have an incredibly high efficient window, and in this picture, the neighbor installed brand new windows, high efficient, and the sun hit the window and it reflected back to the neighbor's house like little laser beams, and it burns the siding. It just melts it. So if you ever see this, I've seen it as a home inspector many times. Just siding that looks warped and melty and stuff. That's the windows on your neighbor's house. And there have been lawsuits where neighbors install new windows and the window laser beam off the window melts people's siding, as well as there's a lawsuit it melted the bumper on somebody's Volvo on their car. Okay, so let's get right to condensation. If you don't see, these houses are so well insulated that the insulation has to be done to perfection. If not, and sometimes it isn't done, in theory, everything is wonderful, but in reality, sometimes it isn't done properly, and you're going to get condensation behind the plastic, and it gets really weird. Look at all the condensation here on the ductwork. It's just dripping in this crawl space, and that's causing a lot of mold to grow. Look at all the mold. See, the high efficient homes are great if everything is done properly. If not, it's more of a haven for mold and insects and rodents. I've been doing this my whole life. I've done 18,000 home inspections for 37 years. I've seen it all. And as houses became tighter, I ran into more problems with mold and radon and indoor air quality. It's just the way it is. But if everything is done well and you ventilate as you should and the installation is perfect, it's my house is high efficient. I don't have problems because I made sure everything was done absolutely perfect. Now, what testing is required? So these high efficiency properties, you need these HERS raters. That's the guy, the inspector, and they come out and they check the duct work to make sure it's not leaking. They check the pressure in the whole house. They put this um, it's a leak door, analysis. So they put this piece of fabric over the door, little computer here. They run a fan, and they're looking for leaks around the windows and doors in the home. And you might have seen that happen, but this is it's not a cheap process, but it is required in all new construction that has in Massachusetts, just about every city and town is going to require this type of procedure before you get your occupancy permits. Oh yeah, and you'll see these guys for sure. A home is the most valuable investment you'll ever make. Now, recent studies show that certifying your residence as sustainable, like Energy Star, can add 9% to its value on a $300,000 property. That's 27 grand. So it depending on the part of the country, Massachusetts isn't up as high as this, but the appraisers are coming around and they're starting to add some value. This is your HERS index, and you're going to see these index cards are in the basement of the home, down in the cellar, and they're attached to the area near the electrical panel. So go in the basement, look at the electrical panel, and you'll see these stickers. That's where they're supposed to be put. And you take a look at the number that they're rated at, and it says this home is 65. Okay. Now in Massachusetts, most new construction, almost in all parts of Massachusetts, require that this number be 55 or you're not going to get your occupancy permit. So this isn't good enough in most parts of Massachusetts anymore. It's got to go down lower, even more efficient. The U.S. Department of Energy, the typical resale homes actually have 130, and new construction has 100. But Massachusetts wants it to be even better than 100, so now they want you to be at 55. So think about your regular house 130, a new house 100 in most parts of the country. Massachusetts, you got to do it so tight, you're down to 55. And you guys are realtors, so you know that there are green designations. You can take one of these courses that go on for hours, and you learn quite a bit about this stuff. I'm skimming over the basics for you, but it's fun. When you earn the green designation, you'll gain access to all kinds of tools and information that might help you sell these properties and be more valuable to your builders, and that might get you more listings. We have the MLS Green Toolkit. You know that you do have fields in your MLS now. So in your MLS, you have green fields that you should be filling out if applicable. So make it easy to fully promote the special features of a green home or a brown home with green retrofits. So you take a look at your MLS fields, and you'll really you'll see a lot of benefit. Now, this is the Baldwin County Association of Realtors, their green field inputs. You get all these ceiling fans, extra insulation, power roof vents, ridge vents, turbines, thermal doors, thermal windows. The SEERs, the higher the seasonal energy efficiency ratings of an air conditioner, the better. So all of these geothermal, you should come to my geothermal, my heat class. It's fantastic. I explain how air conditioners work, how geothermal works, how solar panels work, and it's a good one. Energy Star. So all of these are different fields you can add to your MLS. Green buildings expensive? Well, yeah, LEED certified buildings cost less to operate, reduce energy and water bills by as much as 40%, but they are giant expensive to actually build. So you'll be spending a lot more, tens of thousands of dollars more to go LEED. But I guess over time it might pay itself back, and there are some rebates. And Energy Star houses cost more too, but not as much as LEED. I mean, LEED is really If anyone says to you, Andy, the house that I'm listing, the seller tells me it's called a passive house. Passive. It's certified as a passive house. That's the best in the world. Passive house energy certification, passive house is the best in the world. It's crazy. So passive house, expensive to do, but it's the best. And then beneath passive house, you have your Energy Star properties. Those are good, but not as good as passive. And I mean good, I'm meaning energy efficient. And then beneath the lead, you have Massachusetts stretch code communities. The stretch code house is more efficient than a base code house. So Massachusetts has probably now 80 cities that allow base code to be their energy expectation, but most cities require stretch code. And the stretch code is what wants the 55, and the base code is going to allow you to be 65. So we can go on, but if anyone says to you, I have a passive house, that's the best. Energy Star, that's pretty darn good. Stretch code, that's pretty good. And base is still good, but that's the bottom. We have energy efficient mortgages, you know. So if your buyer can only afford a $300,000 house, if it's an energy code home, if it's an Energy Star house, the bank may be able to allow them to purchase a home for $350 instead of $300 because they consider the energy savings to offset the fact that the mortgage will be higher. And these are new programs. So the energy efficient mortgages, then you get the 203K mortgages that will add the ability to finance some of the energy efficient upgrades you're going to build. So remember, if your buyer says, I can only afford 3, that's max, maybe they can afford more if they buy a certified home. Home and business owners who want to participate can either purchase a solar electricity systems like direct or indirect. With solar panels, you can buy a panel, which is expensive, but that's the best way to go. You can lease a panel, but you'll have a lease for 20 years. And then you can also get a power purchase agreement, which is sort of like a lease again, but not as good, but it might be better. It depends. When you lease the panel, you pay your $250 a month. And if you don't generate much electricity, well, you still have to pay your $250 a month, plus you have to pay the electric bill to the national grid. Because you could have a lot of days like today that there really isn't any sun. And in the winter, there's not much sun. It's good from 11 to 2 o'clock, and that's about it. So if you have a purchase power agreement, you already come up with a number that you'll be paying no matter what. And you might have good days or days that you benefit from that locked number or days you don't. But overall, some people think they might do better with a PPA. But your best bet is to actually buy the panel if you can and get the tax credit. Because if you buy a PPA or a lease, you're not getting the tax credit. The gigantic tax credit will not be going to you. It'll be going to the leasing company. And as far as solar, you know, there are some pros. Solar is renewable and clean. A pro, you can save a lot of money over time, and a lot of money because you're paying a lot to buy it. So when are you going to recapture that? Improves the value of your home. Some people don't think so. It depends on the buyer's perspective. They're quiet. Well, yeah, you don't hear them. You don't hear electricity either, so that's sort of silly. Solar energy is accessible in remote areas. Yes, but most locations aren't worthy of solar anyway. So solar panels can't be put anywhere. They're limited as to where they can be installed, depending on the location of your home, the pitch of the roof, and everything else. The con would be they may be expensive to install. Maybe they are. It might not work as well in your area. Some areas are horrible. They just don't generate much at all. Your roof might not be big enough to do what it needs to do. And it's weather dependent. Snow, bad days, rain, leaves, they affect it a lot. Storing solar energy. The batteries cost 30 grand, 20 grand, 15 grand, depending on. So the thing with solar, when the sun's out, you're getting electricity. Soon as the cloud passes over the sun, you don't get electricity. It instantly disappears. So, if you're not home all day, if you're not home during the day when the sun's out, then you're not getting it. Your refrigerator's running, but that's all you're getting. You're not really, the minute you get home at night, there's no solar, anything. So that's why there's something called net metering. And we don't have enough time to get into net metering so much, but net metering is if you generate more electricity than you need, it actually goes back into the utility company, and they buy it back, and we give you little credit cards. It's like a little gift certificates that you can buy the city's electricity. You can buy National Grid's electricity at a cheaper price because you're giving them these gift cards because you have electricity generating from your solar panels during those 3 hours during the day that you don't need because you're not home. So that power you didn't actually use goes back into the National Grid, and the National Grid gives you gift certificates, and those gift certificates you use to help pay the actual bill, because most of the electricity is real electricity you've purchased from National Grid after the sun went down. So during the time the sun's up, you're not home to use it. So it sort of goes back to the National Grid, and they let you get certificates so you can buy the actual power that you're going to have to buy because it's after sundown. So we can go into solar panels forever. It's a fantastic topic. And as a home inspector, I'm not in love with them at all. I see that they leak. The fasteners, they're mounted to the roof. And I've seen water leaks coming in and all kinds of crazy stuff. And also when the roof gets old and worn and weird, like, now what do? I got to take them off. So I want to show you something. When you're using, we're seeing a surge in the filing of UCC Uniform Commercial Code financing statements when it comes to solar panels. It's a legal form that a creditor files with the Registry of Deeds to give notice that it has or may have an interest in the personal property. It's like a lien on the property. And when you try to sell a house with a solar panel, it becomes problematic because the underlying contract with the solar company dictates what's going to happen upon sale. And some of these contracts are not very friendly to the homeowner. So the most dangerous contract in real estate, honestly, the most dangerous contract in real estate is the solar panel contract. So it can be drafted beautifully for the homeowner, or it can be drafted beautifully for the solar panel company. Solar panel contracts need to be analyzed by a really sharp attorney before you sign. Don't ever sign a solar panel contract without your attorney reviewing it, making sure it's properly set up for your benefit. And they can do that. And some of these are awesome, and some of them not so good. And I want to thank you, so much. If you guys have any questions, I squished a lot of time into 45 minutes. Do you have any questions at all?
Thank you, Andy, so much for that presentation. It was so informative, and you were able to cram a lot in such a short amount of time. So thank you for
Sure.
that. Yes, let's go on to questions. So the first question we have is, can we find our values or our ratings without having access to information on initial construction installation? Can an inspector give us those numbers?
Yes. A HERS inspector can come out at any time. They're just regular people like home inspectors, but they're HERS inspectors, and they can come out and do an analysis and give you your number on any home. Doesn't matter how old it is or how new it is.
The next question is, does the Berkshire or Cape MLS have green seals?
They have green fields. Yes, they have green fields in their MLS system. All over the country, green fields have become the popular thing. Some real estate agents don't know how to fill them out. So you really want to, you could call MLS and get some guidance on, how to fill out the green fields properly. But yes, the green fields have been around for a while.
Okay. Great news, the battery packs have some down in price and can be added to a solar system at a later time. The cost for them is about 7-watt system is 10,000, 2020 prices. I guess that was just a statement.
No, that's good. Um, that's 10,000 for the battery, and the batteries are like any other battery. They don't last that long. They're batteries. They wear out. And the issue with the battery, that battery is on top of what you've already spent, which is into the $30,000 range, or 40 or 50 or 70, depending on how big your house is. So a lot of people say, listen, Andy, I'm paying like $200 for electric bill now. If I keep paying 200 in a year, I'll be paying 2,400. And then in 10 years, I'll be paying, 22, maybe 30,000. How many years will it take me to get my money back? So when you do the math, some people change their mind. And solar panels, they become antiquated quickly. So you got this old panel on the roof that isn't near as good as it used to be. And they do wear out. Every year, they become less efficient. They just do, the solar panel itself. And the batteries don't store as much as they do when they're new. So yeah, if you look up solar and you study it, you'll see a lot about solar panels that is you're going to see, this is the point. Right now, I guess it's because solar companies we have to be more careful. But when you look it up, it'll say buying our solar panel or renting or leasing from us may reduce your electrical bill. I've been noticing the word may more than ever before. It used to be it will, now it may. And that, I guess, would be a CYA statement. So I love them if everything is perfect and it doesn't break the bank and you can sell your house without a problem. And but they're expensive. Go ahead.
So we have a couple statements, really interesting, and thank you so much for this webinar. It was fantastic. So some great feedback here. Another question, what might a HERS inspection cost?
The HERS is going to be around, right now, 500 to 700. HERS inspector, they do the blower door, they'll come in and do the duct testing, and they do a full evaluation of all the materials in the home and the insulation. So yeah, and they're regular guides, and they're not all the same price, so you should shop around. Go on Google, type in HERS inspectors in the area, and you'll find a good amount of these guys out there. They're it's something, if you're interested, you could certainly do. If you don't have if your house is old, I wouldn't really do it, because now you're gonna have a house with a bad number. What are you gonna do with that? But if your house is a newer home and you really want to brag about the number, then you might want to do it. You'll come up with a nice number. That'll be a good selling feature.
So what's the status on solar roof tiles?
Well, they're not very popular right now. They're expensive. At some point, they will become more commonplace. But right now, it's newer technology, and it's not what we're seeing. Same thing with solar film. It's like film, the same thickness of a piece of aluminum foil. All this new stuff is great, but that's not what's in the marketplace right now. Not around here.
That's good to know. So another statement, thank you, Andy, great information. This may come under the heading of a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. What do you think about mass save inspections? Are they useful or just feel good?
No, they're good. A mass save inspection is really excellent. Or New Hampshire saves, they have the same thing. They come out, they do an inspection, and they offer you all types of free product. They're not going to give you big stuff for free, but they button up your house, and then they give you really good quotes on the big things. And you can insulate a home or put a newer heating plant in for much less through Mass Save or New Hampshire Save than you would if you just went directly to contractors. It would be crazy not to at least call Mass or New Hampshire Save first before doing anything that has to do with insulation or heating or lighting. Let them give you a better quote, and you'll always get a better bid.
Well, that looks like that's all the questions for today. Thank you to everyone for joining us. As a reminder, this webinar has been recorded and will be available to view in the next few days on our website at marealtor.com. Thank you so much, Andy, for your presentation, and thank you to everyone today. We hope to see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Any questions, give me a call directly. Happy to help.